How high can VeChain's VET token go in 2025? This is a big question. We get asked it all the time on the comments in YouTube or down in the Discord server. So today I want you to spend a little bit of time sharing my 2025 price prediction for VeChain's VET token. Guys, as I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and let's take a look at what's going on with VeChain. So here we have VeChain paired up with USDT. This is the 1-day Binance chart. Now, we've seen some really interesting price movements over the past few years when it comes to VeChain. Okay, and well, in today's video, we need to do a couple of things. We need to first of all ascertain whether or not the bottom is in for VeChain at the 1.318 cent low, or whether or not we have more lows to come on in here before we get into the bigger breakouts to the upside, and how high it went in the previous bullish market. These are anchor points for VeChain's price action. It's important for us to understand, what the performance was historically, where the bear market low is, and what the potential is going to be based on history. Okay, this is essentially what we're looking to do. Now, we're going to use a couple of tools to help us with this. We're going to use Elliott-Wave theory, which basically tracks the behaviors, the psychology of the buyers and sellers. Okay, what that does is it allows you to kind of take into consideration all of the moves, and those moves are based on institutional players, whales, market manipulators, as well as retail investors. It takes a look at all of the activity here and plots out the most logical moves based on how they normally behave based on these scenarios. So we're going to use Elliott-Wave theory, and we're going to use Fibonacci retracements because Elliott-Wave theory relies on Fibonacci retracements in terms of how deep retracements go, how high things and pumps potentially push later down the line. These are the two go-to tools, which is why I put together the Elliott-Wave theory course and a smart money concepts course over at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗥𝗘. For anyone who hasn't already checked that out, go ahead and check it out. It's linked in the description down below, and I'm running a 50% off code for the month of October. By clicking that and taking it apart, you can learn all of the psychology movements and understand what I'm talking about in more detail in these videos. So let's make a start. We do see a really good run from 2020 into 2021. We can see that VeChain bottomed out way down here. In fact, I'm going to have to zoom in because it's such a low number, I can't even snap a line to it. It was 0.00157. Then we saw a market peak back in 2021, and it's going to, again, really hard for me to anchor that in, so I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit here and snap it to that handle there. It was 27.9 cents. Now, from that entire move from the low side down here to the high side up here, if I can snap it, which I think I can, almost, there we go, 17,780%. Okay, so we knew that it was a fantastic bull market for VeChain. And so a lot of people are then saying, can history repeat itself? Can we see VeChain do another 17,000%? Well, straight off the bat, if we were to take this measurement, okay, from that high point up here at 27 cents, so we can snap a Fibonacci retracement tool onto that pie. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and zoom in so I can actually get that on the correct wick, which is that one right there. And then, of course, we snap this to the bear market low of 2020. Okay, so that's really important for us to do this because it allows us to measure the entire distance and measures that 17,000%. Okay. And you can see all of these retracements on that journey. Okay, so we can see we have 0 down at the bottom, 236, 382, 0.5, 0.1, 0.618, 0.702, 0.786, 0.8821, and so forth, right? We can see that we came down close to the 38.2% retracement. It actually came up a little bit higher than that, and it was a 1.318 cents, okay? Now, if we go ahead and take this and we move it over to our existing low of 1.318, okay, that's going to allow us to basically take into consideration how high 17,000% could be for VeChain's price action, because it is quite a phenomenal number, okay? So 17,000% from our bear market low of 2023 would put VeChain right up here between $2.34 and $7.95. Now, I want to stress that it is highly unlikely that we're going to repeat history and see 17,000% move for VeChain, right? It would be a 3-wave pattern on Elliott wave. It would get us up there. And if history does repeat itself, there would have to be some phenomenal reason to do so. We'd have to see a significant amount of fresh demand coming in while simultaneously lowering the supply, the circulating supply of VET. It's incredibly unlikely that we're going to see those two things occur. We might see a reasonable amount of demand coming in that soaks up some supply, but we're not really seeing the fundamental reasons as to why there might be a logical reason to see a massive inflow of new users soaking up significant amounts of VET while simultaneously locking up tokens in liquidity pools and so forth that reduces the supply. I don't think we're going to have that kind of recipe for these kind of numbers to reach $2 to $8 essentially. I don't think so, but it's an interesting target nonetheless. So to kind of say, we're probably not going to repeat history, but what we can do is we can take a look at some of these I'm going to leave the fibs on there actually. We can look at some of these other numbers and see what they are going to do. Now, in terms of our current price action, are we likely to hold the 1.318 cents? Yes, I do believe we are. We do have a 5-wave move to the upside. We have the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, which overextends, and we see a nice bearish corrective move into these lows at the moment. Okay, so I do think the bottom is in, and what we're looking at right here is a typical wave 2 retracement. Okay, so that means that we are looking for 5 waves to the upside. For again, going back to the Elliott wave theory scenario, right, we have 5-wave patterns that are impulsive like this. And then we have 5 waves internally on each of the 1s, the 3s, and if I can actually draw correctly, and the 5s. Okay, so as you can kind of see, it looks like this. He says if he can actually draw these 5-wave moves incorrectly, which apparently I'm struggling with today. So you can see, right? 5, 3, 5, 3, 5 is what they kind of call it. Okay, 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, 3 down, 5 up, right? So that's a 5-wave pattern. Now, why do I mention this? I mention that because we have 5 waves here. And like I said, this is the wave 2, meaning that we are to see another big surge to the upside. So I'm tracking this as a wave 1, a wave 2, a big wave 3, 4, and then 5, right? So that's what we're looking for. Okay, so knowing these things, what are those targets? Well, first of all, if we've bottomed out here most recently in August of 2024, will that allow us to then be predictive over what our targets are going to be going further forward? Again, I'm going to snap this as close as I can to these wicks. And I'm going to zoom in and make sure I get the exact wick here as well. Okay, and then I'm going to move this over to the August low. Now, the August low may not hold, but I'm going to use it in today's video. The lower that our price action goes in Q4 2024, it will of course mean the lower our targets are going to be. Okay, so it's not actually a bad thing, it would be a good thing. So up here we can see 19.064. 19.064 is going to be our impulsive trigger point. That's what we look for in terms of where we think that price action is heading for basically that impulsive break that I've been talking about. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just delete this off, and then you can see that 1.618 target in there. That means that what we're looking for here is a wave 1 up here. This is a wave 2. Wave 3 has to hit 19.084 cents, a little bit of a cool off, and then a run to the upside. Okay, so that gives us a pretty interesting kind of structure, right? It shows that we are looking for a potential new all-time high. No guarantees, of course, but a potential new all-time high. And it looks to me like we're going to be somewhere between these key areas, the 0.618 fib level and the 0.786 fib level. Okay, these are the conservative targets that I then have and that I think are the most probable areas for VeChain's price action to go. We might overextend. The third wave might rally up to a double top with the previous all-time high, quick cool off, push here. Minimum expectations, of course, on the wave 3 are 19.084. And that's what we're looking for. So 32.86 to 77.322. That there would be my conservative bull market high for VeChain in 2025. Of course, I might be completely wrong. We see some really good fundamental reasons for us to smash past these levels, even go past $1 and go for the $2.34 to $7.95. I just don't think that that's realistic. I think actually the most realistic is going to be somewhere between 32 and 77 cents between these key Fibonacci levels where we do historically see a lot of resistance for price action. So for me, I think this is the most logical theoretical area to be thinking about in terms of 2025 and what my, VeChain price prediction is for 2025. It's going to be 32.386 to 77.322. Now, of course, these are just my thoughts and opinions on the data in the charts as I personally see it. What do you think? Well, how high do you think VeChain is likely to go? Let me know in the comments down below or join us in our free Discord server. We would love to hear from you. Guys, if you haven't done so already, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe and check out this video right here. It's not one you're going to want to miss.